10 years ago, if you told me that I'd be able to fly my whole family to Zanzibar for a 3-day, fully funded trip, post our experience online, and I'd get paid for it, I'd say you're crazy. Hi, my name is Qamili. I'm a food and travel influencer, a chef, a tour guide, and a marketing manager. I know, sounds like a wild combination, but trust me, it makes sense. So let me take you back to where I was 10 years ago. I was actually right here at AKAMombasa, stressed over schoolwork and exams. And mind you, I wasn't the brightest kid. I definitely did enough to get by, but I for sure was not a smart kid. And I put that in quotes because what does it even mean to be a smart kid? We were always taught that smart equaled grades, and that was never my thing. So what kind of smart was I? Let me tell you what I asked my parents for when I was 12 years old. An iPod. An iPod cost 16,000 Kenyan shillings at that time. I know, a lot for a kid to ask for. But my parents said, okay, you make half of the money and we'll pay for the other half. But I thought to myself, surely now. I'm 12. I literally just learned the 12 times table the other day. How am I supposed to make money? So I sat down and thought to myself, okay, what can I do? What can I do? At my big age of 12, I knew that I could paint, but I don't think that was going to make me any money. Then I remembered that my mom taught me how to bake a cake. And then I found a brownie recipe that I really enjoyed. So I decided, let me do that. So I started selling a full tray of brownies at 700 shillings. And God bless my auntie and all of her friends, because every weekend, they bought brownies, and a few weeks later, I had enough money to buy myself half an iPod. And that right there was my first moment of refraction, when I realized, okay, school might not be my thing, but at least I have enough pocket money. That moment made me realize that I might not have been school smart, but I was definitely resource smart. I never thought much of that situation, especially when being in school, everything revolved around exams and aiming to go abroad for uni. And for me, I knew that that didn't make sense. It was way too expensive to go abroad for uni. And I remember a classmate once telling me, what's the point of being at this school if you don't even go abroad for uni? And that really stuck with me because I knew I wasn't going abroad. And it always made me question if I was on the right path. So where the school system didn't make me feel capable, baking did. That's when I really started to think about what career I might want. I loved dogs, and I still do. So I told my parents, I want to go to veterinary school. And then I learned that veterinary school is 10 years of studying. Another 10 years. No ways. No ways was I doing that. Back to the drawing board. That moment made me immediately refract. Refraction is all about how light changes direction when it enters something new. And that's exactly what my life kept doing, bending into new directions every time I hit a barrier. I ended up learning that I really enjoy cooking. And what I loved about it more is that I knew that there were no written exams or tests that I had to do. So that's how I ended up going to culinary school here in Kenya. Spoiler alert, there were written exams and tests that I had to do. But at least this time, it didn't feel stressful because I actually enjoyed it. So I started taking photos and videos of the food that we would make just to document my journey. And then I got a notification on my phone saying, memory full. I knew that I didn't want to delete these photos, so I decided, let me create an Instagram account so I could post all of my photos there. But it became really fun. It became a way for me to journal and document everything that I cooked and ate. I had about 700 followers when a lady selling cakes messaged me and said, can I send you a package? And I thought to myself, Hey, free cake? Let's go. But then she followed by saying, let me know how much you'll charge. Charge? As in, this lady wants to pay me to post her cakes on my page. I charged her 1,000 shillings, and I did a whole unboxing video with my review and everything. I didn't even know that that could be a job. Today, I have more than 60,000 followers across platforms, and over 50 brand partnerships later, I'm here on this stage. But what does 60,000 followers even mean? Because to the older generation, I might just look like somebody who's constantly on their phone, always taking photos and videos, and just laying in bed. But believe it or not, this is my office. So let me break this down for you. As an influencer, I post about food and travel. And that means I get to work with brands to highlight their products or services with my followers, their potential clients. And I'll work with a flour company, an oil company, or even a hotel. Let me give you an example so you understand the power of these new age social media jobs. Last year, I worked with a beach hotel over Easter. I made a video recapping our experience, and I had a code attached to it so that I could track my bookings. That code was able to generate over 1 million in sales, all because of one video that I scripted, shot, edited, and posted from my phone. I charged the cake lady 1,000 shillings. Today, I can charge brands 100,000 shillings because I know how strong my online community is. Advertising was always about banners, billboards, newspapers, physical flyers. But entering this new digital age is really wild because you can send out a poster on WhatsApp. You can post a video of your product on Instagram, boost it as an ad, and you'll reach thousands of people within minutes. This is the new shape jobs have taken. This is what refraction looks like when it's applied to careers. It's crazy to think of what you can do with a phone, because previously, a phone was just something that you could only take phone calls from. But today, the possibilities are endless. So let me share with you how I use my phone for all of my 4 jobs. As a social media manager, I manage all of my clients' accounts from my phone. I do full shoots from my phone, and I don't even need any fancy equipment. For my food tours, I post about it online. And I'll manage all of my bookings via email, which, again, you guessed it, I can manage from my phone. Circling back to my brownies that I still bake today, I post online when I'm baking it, and I'll get all of my orders online. I can even do my accounting and costing on an Excel sheet, which again, I can access from my phone. This is the new shape jobs have taken. This is what refraction looks like when it's applied to careers. So the next time you look at your phone, think of all the opportunities, possibilities, and money that you can make from it. But it's also taken me a lot of time to get to where I am today. There have been many pivotal points and challenges along the way. I was once shouted at in the kitchen when I asked my executive chef to repeat himself, and he shouted back with, "Do you have tampons in your ears?" And mind you, that was the censored version. At the time, I didn't even have time to process that situation. I just continued working there. It was only until a few weeks later when I was speaking to my sister and she asked me, "How was your day?" And I said, "It was so good, I didn't get shouted at today." That's when she sat me down and said, I don't think this is very normal to say. And that's when it actually hit me. Maybe this place isn't for me. And don't get me wrong, I've had many great experiences working in the kitchen. That, unfortunately, was just one of the worst experiences that I've had. When I reflect on that situation, it taught me a lot of things. It taught me how not to treat people, but it also taught me that I don't really like working under somebody else. That situation actually forced me to refract. And I'm glad because that's how I was able to reflect on my situation and realize that maybe I should just bet on myself. I mean, I've been making brownies since I was 12. I would come home from school, finish my homework, then start making brownies. Over the years, I've corrected and developed the recipe until I was happy with the right texture and taste that I wanted. I've even experimented with a few different flavors. I once tried a walnut and fennel brownie. Yikes, not my best creation. But one thing that stands out for me is that I always had fun, and I made sure to give it my best. And I knew that if I gave it my best, no roadblock could stop me. And that's how I was able to scale my business from selling 1 tray a day to 10 trays a day. No obstacle is big enough to stop you as long as you're willing to refract and find a way around it. All of these experiences, the iPod, baking brownies, starting an Instagram account, working with brands, these were not random. These were all moments where life forced me to shift direction and discover a path that I didn't even know existed. These were all refractions. So to the people that felt like they were never enough, not smart enough, not sure what career they might want to choose, or even unhappy with their jobs, I'll say, when life hits you with memory full, don't delete your story, refract and rewrite it.